the news for South Mississippi. WLOX News at 10.
Law enforcement officers in Hancock County are determined to lead the DHS investigation. Plus, a routine prescribed burn turns into tragedy when a helicopter carrying 3 people crashes near the Harrison and Stone County line. Good evening and welcome to WLOX News at 10 o'clock. I'm Christina Garcia. That fatal crash happened in the DeSoto National Forest. 3 people were aboard the chopper, 2 were killed, and the 3rd is in critical condition following the incident. We've learned that one of those who died worked for the U.S. Forest Service. Steve Phillips has been covering the story throughout the day. He joins us live with the very latest. Steve?
Christina, this was to be a typical prescribed burn. In fact, late this morning, the U.S. Forest Service crew was standing just a few feet away from where I'm standing now. They received their briefing late this morning. Little did they know then their routine day would soon take a tragic turn. The burn crew from the U.S. Forest Service gathered first for a safety briefing.
Safety, 911 first. I know we've covered it before, but 911, something happens.
Those words would take on new meaning just hours later. But the day began with the mission at hand, burning off 800 acres of brush, primarily wildfire fuel reduction. The ground crew stayed busy and safe this day. But early afternoon, with the smoke still rising, tragedy strikes.
And the helicopter did go down. We do have 2 confirmed fatalities, according to Mr. Hargrove.
2 dead, 1 critically injured. A medical helicopter arrives. AMR transports the badly injured victim from the crash site, then on to the life flight chopper. Emergency crews arrive from multiple agencies. Along with the crash itself, there is the still burning forest that's a concern.
They still had fires going at the time that the crash happened, so we had to make sure those were controlled in addition to dealing with the crash site itself.
As night falls, a procession of emergency vehicles as the bodies of the 2 victims are escorted from the woods. First light will bring investigators.
National Transportation Safety Board and the FAA will be here, from my understanding, in the morning, first thing in the morning, with investigators to start their process.
Witnesses on the ground told us they thought they heard something go wrong with that helicopter as the aircraft was assisting with the prescribed burn. Michelle Lady is back in the studio with their story.
Talked to some of those who live in those houses. Surprisingly, they told me they never heard a loud noise Monday afternoon or even knew a helicopter had crashed. But they did say there was one thing they thought was kind of odd.
The motor just didn't sound right.
Howard Kaufman is a mechanic, and he says the sound of the helicopter made him think something wasn't quite right Monday afternoon.
It was spitting and sputting. And we didn't hear any crashes or anything. It was just smoke.
Ernest Richardson Jr. also noticed the noise from the chopper monitoring the controlled burn.
The way it was kind of sputtering and dropping a little bit, and the way it was going, like I said, I've worked offshore a little bit, and I've been on enough helicopters to know how they make their landings.
Richardson thought the helicopter made an emergency landing. No one expected the actual tragedy that had just unfolded, killing 2 people.
I never heard an explosion or a crash. I never knew that it went down like it went down, or I'd have probably run on out there as soon as I could have.
Minutes after the silence of the helicopter motor, there were other frightening signals that led neighbors to wonder if something had gone terribly wrong.
There was a lot of smoke.
Yeah, there was a lot
dark.
of smoke over here.
And then 10 minutes later, we heard like the cars and the ambulance and all the firefighters.
First, we saw a couple of fire trucks coming up and down the road, and you can hear the sirens.
Can't say it was from a crash, but you could smell the plastic. Maybe it was the fiberglass of the aircraft.
Names of the 2 people who died are not being released tonight. We hope to know more about the victims tomorrow and what may have caused the chopper to go down. Investigators from several agencies are supposed to be at the crash site in the morning. Make sure to tune in to WLOX News and WLOX.com throughout the day for all the latest on this tragedy.
Thank you, Michelle. Researchers say they keep finding oil along the shoreline, even though it's been nearly 5 years after the Deepwater Horizon explosion. The blast killed 11 workers and sent an estimated 210 million gallons of oil gushing into the Gulf of Mexico. National Wildlife Federation researchers compiled information from nearly 200 studies and also did their own investigation. NWF researchers say that oil is still visible in many places, and wildlife in the Gulf shows signs of oil exposure. A federal judge is still deciding what BP will have to pay. 2 incidents in Biloxi of women being robbed at gunpoint. One happened just before noon in the Edgewater Mall parking lot. Police say while they were with that victim, another armed robbery was being reported just down the road in the 1800 block of Beach Boulevard. Investigators say in both cases the victims were females who were alone. They both described the suspect as a black male with a beard, last seen getting into a white 4-door sedan. Hancock County Sheriff's officials say they are making strides in the investigation into allegations that some DHS caseworkers doctored documents resulting in some children being placed in state custody. Today, Sheriff Ricky Adam told reporter Al Showers he sees no reason for the investigation to be turned over to any other law enforcement agency.
In recent weeks, reports have surfaced that the state attorney general's office could step in and take the lead on the investigation into DHS document tampering allegations, accusations sheriff's investigators have been looking into for several months now.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, this is our investigation. The attorney general had every opportunity to get involved early on. You know, we had a case come to us. We investigated the case and we put together a file that included the complaint, the documents, and criminal histories on everybody involved, and sent it to an investigator with the AG's office. It was later referred back to DHS as a personnel matter. I thought it was a criminal matter, and I still do believe it's a criminal matter.
Chief Investigator Glenn Grannon told us he has 2 primary investigators dedicated to the DHS cases. He said they've interviewed more than a dozen parents who have made complaints, and so far, more than 100 man-hours have been invested.
At this point, we're waiting on some subpoenas for some original documents from DHS. Our guys are as good as anybody in the state. We're not taking a back seat to anybody. Now, do we welcome any extra help? Oh, yes, indeed. We'd love to have extra help, but my guys aren't taking a backseat to anybody.
At least one parent who alleges her paperwork was altered agrees with the sheriff and says she would not like to see the AG's office take the lead.
They've had a similar case before, and they turned it back over to DHS to investigate themselves. It needs to stay with the sheriff's department. If someone needs to step in, it needs to be the FBI. One
caseworker was fired as a result of DHS's internal investigation. In Hancock County, Al Showers, WLOX News.
Now, Sheriff Ricky Adam told us he feels there could be at least one arrest made in the document tampering cases, possibly more. Well, clouds are covering parts of the coast tonight. Will that affect our overnight forecast? Let's find out with Chief Meteorologist Carrie Duncan.
All right, Christina, let's take a look at that forecast and show you actually the sunset first. We don't have much cloud cover. That's why I'm showing you this, because it doesn't look like we're going to be dealing with much in the way of clouds tonight, which will allow for maximum radiational cooling. So we'll see those temperatures drop off, but only to about 61 degrees by 7 a.m. We will see, again, plenty of sunshine and a little bit of patchy fog. So be careful, especially in those areas where there was smoke today and where there could be some lingering smoke. WLOX 24/7 radar not picking up any type of rain and really not much cloud cover either. So we will continue to see only a slim chance for an isolated shower. We have a frontal boundary through the area, so that could trigger off a shower. Warm and humid with that patchy morning fog, and then partly to mostly cloudy each day. Those isolated showers and thunderstorms will be a chance pretty much throughout the week. We'll have a closer look at your Easter weekend forecast coming up in just a bit.
Thanks, Gary. A leadership shift, a new bill moves control of the Coast Coliseum. What that means for Harrison County. Plus,
casino tax money might fund Gulfport's aquarium. We'll hear from residents about the proposal.
The news for South Mississippi continues. WLOX News at 10. Sponsored in high definition exclusively by Gardner Law Firm, the lawyer to call for bankruptcy and debt counseling.
An aquarium in Gulfport is one step closer to becoming a reality. Today, the Mississippi House of Representatives voted to fund a portion of the cost to start the building process. Carrie Grace has been following this story. She joins us with the very latest. Carrie?
State representatives voted to pass a bill that would give $12 million to the Mississippi Development Authority for the project. That money would come from casino tax revenue. Although the bill still has to be signed by the governor for approval, South Mississippians are already excited about what this sort of attraction would do for the city. The days of driving out of state for a trip to the aquarium could soon be over, and residents in Gulfport are looking forward to the possibility.
We are a seafood industry, and it'll be a good attraction, somewhere else to take the kids, so we don't have to travel out of town to go everywhere. A bill to fund the multi-million-dollar aquarium passed with flying colors. The next step is for Governor Phil Bryant to sign off. Residents are hoping he will, so construction can begin.
If we can afford it, fantastic. I know we're still devastated after Katrina, everything else. Our tourist revenue hasn't come up enough, so anything that besides the casinos that can draw people down to the area, fantastic.
The $12 million would be donated over the next 2 years. It will be used to purchase downtown land for the aquarium, improve the infrastructure needed to support the aquarium, and build the facility.
I mean, at least it's a good idea to get the kids something to do. Instead of being out in the heat, they can go look at fishes or tour guides. I know they're going to have other things in there besides an aquarium, summer camps probably or something like that.
It's still too early to decide what the aquarium will feature, but locals are already thinking about what they would like to see.
Plenty of sharks, those are always exciting, people feeding the sharks and they're swimming with the sharks. That'd be real nice to see.
Tomorrow, Gulfport Mayor Billy Hughes will talk to us about the latest developments with the state funding. Christina.
Thanks, Carrie. Coast Coliseum officials could soon answer to Harrison County supervisors. Legislation passed by both the State House and Senate would shift state control of the Coliseum to the authority of Harrison County. Now, if the bill becomes law, Harrison County supervisors would approve the budget for the Coliseum and have authority of its $7 million trust fund. There would also be a new Coliseum Commission beginning in January with 5 representatives from the Harrison County supervisors and 2 from the cities. The port's newest tenant finally has a vessel that will call Gulfport home. What work happened so the ship could dock? And she'll be used for researching the BP oil spill aftermath and different aspects of the Gulf of Mexico. A look at the Point Sur is coming up.